It will teach you to be humble. Seeing people with nothing, yet living abundant, happy lives, it's incredibly humbling for a lot of different reasons. For me, I begin to think about all the things in my life that I fixate on, that I think is important. But when you see someone in another country that doesn't have much, yet they're living an incredibly happy life, you start to question yourself and you look inside and ask, what are the things that I'm focusing on? Why are they taking all my time and attention? They're not that important. There are only a few things in life that are important. It's to be happy.
It will teach you invaluable life skills. So some skills that you're gonna learn through travel are time management, organization, you learn communication and interaction with others, you learn to protect yourself, you learn self-sustenance, and it's pretty much will teach you the definition of street smarts, you know? You gotta be out there and you've gotta know how to play the game. You don't just read about it, you play it. You get out there and you experience it, you see it, you view it, you do it.
It will teach you about yourself. Travel allows you to be uninfluenced by the things that are usually making up your entire universe, such as your peers, your environment, your friends, your family. Everything that creates you and creates your thoughts disappears. And you find yourself in a place where you can create new thoughts and you find new people and new experiences and you're shaped by those experiences. And through that, you learn about yourself. You learn about your intuition. You learn about what you like, what you don't like, what you're drawn to, what you're repulsed by, where you want to be and who you want to spend your time with. And I think the big lesson is to learn to recognize it.
The importance of unplugging from social media. We live in a generation where social media is almost the forefront of our lives. Everything we want to do, we have to share it with our friends for various reasons, and we still don't know the ramifications of what that's like. When you're traveling, you definitely get multiple opportunities that you're not going to be online, or you don't even have the opportunity to be online. So your first instinct isn't, let me get my phone out, let me Snapchat this experience. It's about, let me live it first and foremost. And then you can think about how you're going to share it with your friends. But unplugging from social media is extremely important. And there are a lot of ways that traveling forces you to do this.
It will teach you to be happy. This is kind of a tricky one. It's going to differ for every single person. It'll differ for every situation, every travel, every adventure. But here's, I guess, my take on it. When you travel, you go out into the world and you see things anew. You get put into a new situation, new environments, new problems, new challenges, new rewards, and new solutions to your problems. You get a new perspective of the world around you. Instead of just seeing things everywhere you look, this is what I'm seeing straightforward, you're now putting yourself in other shoes, in other cultures' shoes, seeing how they do things. It just gives you a broader scope of how the world works and how there are so many different ways to do, one simple thing. It broadens your mind, it gives you an idea of the world in its entirety versus just the world as you see it. That personally, it gives me a sense of happiness just to know that, to be able to interact with others and to compare, one style of the earth to another style, one style of life to the other, one person's adventures to another, one person's way of living to my own. It's just more knowledge, it gives me more wisdom. In a sense, that gives me happiness. As a little bonus, I should also mention just the sheer fact of going and doing something fun and adventurous and new, that alone is already like pure happiness for me. A new adventure, count me in anytime. Happiness.
It will teach you to live outside your comfort zone. Traveling has never failed to make me try new things I would never even think about doing. More importantly, it has taught me that some of the hardest decisions in your life end up being the most rewarding ones.
We all know this is true. Traveling is like a never-ending high school field trip. You leave your comfort zone and you go somewhere new, somewhere that you haven't been before perhaps, or somewhere where you just have a lot to learn. And you're learning by the locals, by the professionals, the people who are knowledgeable on the subject. Every breath you take in this new space is a new breath. It's something you haven't experienced yet. And depending on how you look at it, you make this your adventure. This is your new adventure. This field trip, this travel, this is the next thing that you're learning about, that you're experiencing, that you're diving into and being immersed in. And this is how you learn best, is by being there and doing it. One way that was, driven into me on our travels was, funny enough, getting a flat tire, or well, 2 flat tires. We had the intentions of going to a city called Provo, and along the highway we had 2 tires bust, and that changed everything. Now we're sitting on the side of the road, we only have 1 replacement tire, we need help taking it all apart. We call, the repair guy or the car dude, the tire man. He comes out, he helps us, and now our next destination is the nearest city, the neighboring city from where we are on the highway. We weren't planning on going there. We don't know anything about that place, but that's where we have to go now. This is the way things have been put into place. So instead of, sulking about it, it becomes our next adventure. Now we've got a new place to learn about. Now we've got new air to breathe, new land to walk on, and new people to meet. And this is how it works with everything. You plan on one thing, something else happens, and you go with it. That's what makes it the adventure.
It will teach you that you don't need much to survive. It will teach you to be minimalistic. It will teach you to learn to appreciate the little things in life. When your entire universe and all your possessions consist of a backpack with some stinky clothes and a passport, maybe a camera, you learn to accept that eventually. And you learn to forget that you once needed a big house or a car or all of the stuff, the junk that you might have accumulated over the years. Once you learn to live without those things and find joys in your environments and other things in life, you realize that your happiness doesn't come from material possessions. It's not a tangible thing, it's a feeling. And once you learn to tap into that feeling, everything else that you buy and end up owning are just reflections of how you feel inside.
It will challenge you to grow. And I don't just mean physically growing, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. When traveling, you grow in several different ways. Granted, some very minute surface level details. Others, you may, change your entire core values and beliefs based on what you've learned and experienced. And that is tremendous growth. And that can happen to any of us. There's no denying that surrounding yourself in such an intense learning environment basically forces you to become more accepting, warmer, kinder, less critical, less judgmental, and more tolerant of other people. This growth actually is very comparable to maturity.
It will teach you about culture. Experiencing culture shock is an incredible feeling. It's what happens when you immerse yourself in an environment that's completely different than your own. You will learn immediately about the differences and the similarities between these other lives and your own, and you'll make comparisons. You'll learn that there's no right or wrong way to live, and that despite all the differences that may be around the world, we're all fundamentally the same, and we're all interconnected. If you know someone who's wanting to travel and maybe on the fence about it, share this video with them. It's just another reason. We know that travel teaches us a lot about ourselves, a lot about the world around us.
Makes it feel closer to it now.